For some reaction, we're joined by Public Interest South Africa founder and chairperson, Tebogo Khaas. Dr. Khaas, good evening. Good to have you with us tonight. How do you find this news? I mean, how do you receive this development? We've been watching this very carefully. In fact, when Channel here was observing a year after the unrest, one of the questions that we kept asking is, why is there no arrest 12 months on? Well, today, here we are. We hear that 20 have been arrested and more are expected to be arrested. How difficult is it going to be, you think, for the Hawks to pin these individuals to this crime?
Good evening, Tabo. In fact, indeed, this is good news. We needed this type of news from time to time. And certainly, while we applaud, and as we should, the SA Police and the Hawks for an excellent job in this arrest of 20 individuals. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. We would like to know what extent were these individuals involved and who are they. That can only be known tomorrow or whenever they appear in court for the first instance. And having said that, I am hopeful also that we don't find ourselves in a similar situation as happened, you to recall, sometime last year when someone under the name is PTPT evaluator was arrested, ostensibly being one of the instigators. But we are certain, or we are hopeful, rather, that having taken the Hawks this long, it means they have taken their time to study the actions of those they have now arrested to ensure that they can successfully be able to link them to plans, plot, or even the actual commission of the alleged crimes that happened during July last year. And also, we would like to ensure, and we would hopefully believe that we would hope that the Hawks have made sure that we will not have any comebacks. And it takes time to put together a good case. If I may use an example of the January 6th insurrection in the U.S., which happened last year in January. Even as we speak today, some of the key individuals are only now facing comeuppance or being rounded up. In fact, the major kingpin himself is still roaming around in Mar-a-Lago, still not been arrested. So we must also have some patience, which we have, I think, largely with the Hawks in their work, and wait to see as the case unfolds before court.
Yeah. Is it your expectation that out of this 20, we don't know who they are yet, we'll only know as they appear, that at least masterminds, and in the minds of many South Africans, is this question that says, will they be arresting rather prominent political individuals who are suspected to have been behind this, or they would have just arrested the foot soldiers?
Personally, if they don't arrest those who've been tweeting, saying we see you, or basically showing their middle finger to the criminal justice system, and those with allegiances or kinship to the previous administration or presidency, certainly it will be a letdown. We expect them to actually arrest significant individuals who played a role to agitate what otherwise almost became our own version of an insurrection, or as we know now, a very costly demolition of public assets and infrastructure.
And the politics of it all, I mean, do you expect that certainly they will be playing a significant role in how these particular processes are going to be carried out? For example, there was the burning of Parliament. A lot of political rhetoric followed that as to the individual who was arrested. It's still not clear even now whether that particular arrest was politically motivated or not.
Yeah, we cannot escape the political angle on this story itself, because, as you know, it was all politically motivated. Obviously, criminals took advantage of that, which led up to over 354 people losing their lives. So, but yes, the politics will be central to all this. And remember, the person who caused or who precipitated all this and never bothered to even intercede to stop it is still roaming around free, while he's still supposedly ought to be back where he belongs in the Belleville, I think, something like that, or Eden, whatever it is, a facility, a correctional facility. And to the extent that his supporters, or former President Zuma supporters, are alive to the fact that he's still expected to go back, and they're hoping to play for touch until October, when his sentence would have he would have been due, I believe, for remission or some consideration for early release becomes due. They will probably want to use this as another opportunity to scare society, to actually say, if you dare touch those closer to the former president, we might go again and start this. But this nonsense must stop, because until such time that the Hawks and certainly the NPA show that we are a country of laws, a nation governed by rule of law, we cannot have laws applying to one set of individuals while the others just basically poke fun at what we believe ought to be laws that must be followed by everyone. So yes, they must actually make sure that they don't, much as there is a political consideration that can be made, but it shouldn't play a role insofar as discharging justice to those who are responsible for what we endured last year in July.
What is your wish that this particular arrest, if indeed it is successful in as far as prosecution is concerned, would highlight for the country at large around the crime of incitement?
What it would, and again, it depends on the level of, or the kind of individuals that they've arrested. If they've arrested people who are just picking up clothes at certain retail stores and others, I don't say those crimes are minimal. They are very big, huge crimes. But it will tell by the quality, or if I may say the quality, I don't mean
the caliber. I understand what you say.
Yes, the caliber of the individuals that they've rounded up. It will send a message that nobody's above the law. And, we always say nobody's above the law, but yet we have seen it happen in action once when the former president was incarcerated, albeit for a short period of time. But now this is the time for actually taking the book, to throwing the book at those who are actually thinking that they can thumb their noses and just tweet their way through the next conference, of the ruling party. So yes, it is significant, and we cannot minimize the significance of it all. In fact, much as we would have wished for this to have happened much earlier, I would much rather they took their time to ensure that the evidence that they've gathered, as General Lebeya has said, that they made sure that they were meticulous in evidence gathering and being able to link it to specific individuals, and amongst those that the 20 that they've rounded up, and make sure that it sticks, because it is one thing to arrest, and it is another thing just to charge. And as it's common in legal parlance in the US, they say any attorney general can prefer charges over a ham, but it is whether you're able to have charges that are provable, the charges that are competent, and charges that you can get a conviction from. So I think its importance is to make sure that there's a convictions that are returned, and heavy sentences for that matter, because of the gravity of the crimes that were committed and the cost to the economy and other downstream effect it has had, especially on the small business environment.
Tebogo Khaas, chairperson, founder of Public Interest South Africa, much appreciated, and thank you very much for your time and for joining us tonight here on In Focus. Yeah.